I would like to thank you for coming. I really thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I called you and begged when you came. Thank you. And I want to thank Robin for having this wonderful event at your establishment. This is just the beginning of a wonderful experience at Vesey Lane Goods.
Yes.
My name is Dora Kelley. I'm the wife of Charles Kelley. I have 4 wonderful children and 14 beautiful grandchildren. I have been proving it to you here. I live in Monroe, Michigan, and I was born in Detroit, Michigan. Upon my retirement from the YMCA, I had a strong need to fulfill my life with something special. I had worked my whole life raising children and grandchildren, which is absolutely wonderful. But I was now ready to live the life of an artist at large. The life I read about in storybooks and the art history books that I was studying with. I started studying art history and then took it further and began teaching myself painting. I found 2 famous artists that were given lessons through DVDs, and I studied with them and felt like I'd really learned some great quality techniques. My favorite subjects to paint have been women and nature scenes. I love to use oils and acrylics. My recent passion has been in making monoprints and doing lino cuts. I often make collages out of the results of those. Amongst these and many other endeavors, I have started designing and creating jewelry. The act of tearing apart vintage jewelry and incorporating it with natural stones and African beads is very fulfilling and calming. I'm a seamstress, as I sewed for money a lot of my life, and I have a passion for making quilts. I'd like to make unique designs in clothing and purses in the future. I plan on having a line of boho clothes that are made from recycled dresses. Expressing myself through art, whether it be paint, crayons, material, or thread, is totally necessary for me. Just like when I walked the first time in the spring on the dirt with my bare feet, I feel the energy. When I put my fingers in paint, yes, I use fingers often. I feel the blood running freely in my body. There's no pain, there's no sadness. And this is my truth. If y'all don't have it, I'm sorry. Fight it, it's a wonderful thing. When I was thinking of doing art, it's like a little girl in a candy shop, because you can just dream anything you want to do. There are no limits in our mind. I try and strive daily to include the vision of art and beauty of nature in my day. I feel that exposing ourselves to beauty allows it to grow and spread in our imagination. And this is the way I want to live for the rest of my life, learning more every day. I'm gonna pause here. If anybody has a question of anything I said, or life, or whatever, or I shall continue.
Have you always had an interest in art?
Yes. I had
How did it
really
start?
no idea that I could do it. I didn't have confidence in anything I drew or anything like that. But I was a seamstress and a clothing designer. And it went from Barbie dolls and purses was a big thing of mine, because I'm a girl. Purses, and that's a little bit of material. Because I was poor. I was really poor. And therefore, I think it helped me figure out, when we do compositions with the art, you figure it all out, and you got this and this and this. When I was making a dress, I might get a pattern, or I had to make my own. And then it would say 3 yards of material. I got a yard and 7/8. But if you turn it and flip it, or add a contrasting, I always came out with stuff. And I think that lent to my ability to create art in general. But I love material, I love color so much. And I love texture. I love the feel, I really do love the feel of my material. Even when I just iron something straight, and I'm like, and it's nice. When I paint, and I'll tell you more about that, how I'll use that love of material and touch and texture in that. If you want to get the little catalogs, look at that. I start at the front with just a mini bio. My name's Dora Kelley. I'm an artist. I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. After retiring from the YMCA, I dove into art. I began to explore my creative side, and now I primarily paint landscapes and seascapes in oil. I've also been painting with acrylics, creating collages, and printmaking. I also enjoy designing and creating tours. What the heck, you know, I read it first. Now, if you go to the first picture you'll see in here, which is Marcia Music painting, which is right over here. And if I show you my paintings, I love because I go overboard. And I love it. I won't let go till I love every bit of it. You know, people say that's an issue, wanting perfection, but it's what my mind is wanting. She had what you'll see here is a poem. It's not a poem. It's her quote that was on her brochure at the Detroit Opera. I wrapped my mind around the complicated tale of the whole ring cycle until it distilled into real-life experience, the deceptions, weakness, and aberrance of a dysfunctional family, and the one who comes to break the generational curse, just like in life, my own even, as if you know Marcia, you know love it. Recreating the mayhem of the gods and collapse as an allegory for today's mayhem and plague was my task. Yuval insisted that he wanted the story told in my Detroit voice, which I took to mean not just my vernacular, but my take on the story, in rhyme no less. That's Marcia. Marcia is a wonderful poet, you say laureate. If anybody wants to join in with, she has a lot of titles. Her father owned the first record company in Michigan, and the coolest one with all the singers that we grew up dancing to in there. Marcia's watching them. She's playing a little girl in the corner, you know. But she's been involved in multitudes. Debbie, help me.
Her dad owned Joe's Records.
Joe's Records.
Yes, at Black Bottle. And he recorded Aretha Franklin
Yeah.
before she was famous. And then I got to go to Marcia's house a couple weeks ago, and I got to see that headdress. And she talked about the opera. And it was, like during COVID, it was actually in a parking lot.
It was.
Yeah, and it was so amazing how the people that were in the opera, when she talked about the story about the opera, the people that performed didn't even know the story, and she was able to transform.
Put it out
so
right there.
amazing.
That,
yes.
And she, like that, it was the story as a dressmaker, right? That really got me too. They have costume department from all hell and back, right? So, no. As we all know, Marcia makes her dresses herself by hand out of typically African material. So she's like, I got this. She makes the cape. That is the material off that dress. That is her crystal. Because see, when I do. I'm not so talented, but I'll work it, and I wanted that to be it. This headdress, she had a little girl in Detroit design that. And so that was very special. She wanted to honor her. She's absolutely wonderful woman. And so I was so honored to see that, and I called her up. I said, Marcia, I know, I don't even do people. Can I do this? Because I felt my heart would pull it out, and I think it did.
Yes.
But you can feel that the gown feels like velvet. That's my material sense that the feathers, I'd like you to touch, is that a feather? I try to make it as realistic, particularly when it comes to the texture of the item, the glass of her necklace, the material, the brown beads, her hair even being braided. I felt all that and I enjoyed it. So if it didn't do no more than give me that enjoyment as I created it and hung it on the wall. But it has been purchased.
Oh, has it?
Yes, Marcia.
Great.
Marcia purchased it, yes. And that has hung at a couple places, one of them being, Charles Wright. And, it's here right next to it. Anyways, that is Marcia's painting. I call it Marcia Music. That's her nickname. The next picture that we'll look at is, my girls. These right here are right here where Rhoda's standing.
Okay.
And this is Sisters Forever, the two girls. Passionate Lady, she got her swerve going on. And Fancy, because look at, she's definitely a fancy. This is when I started playing around, learning to do pour painting. And so I get done, it wasn't what I wanted to, but I had pieces of it, like you guys know, that's on papers. And I said, I gotta do something. I always liked collage, and I just went with it on these. So this is like pour, it's not just paper, these are poured. Some of my other stuff you'll see in here had material in the background, or painted regular paper, or printed paper. Like I'm following my girlfriends here who do everything on everything. So that's those girls, and they have been in wow, I've got two of the same papers here. They've been at Palmer Park. And Patrician Art Gallery had them permanent. Okay, the next one that we have to talk about, if you have any questions, you're feel free. Is Ketanji Jackson Brown and her daughter. You'll see that up there?
Yeah, I love that one.
That is nothing but special. I don't have a whole lot to talk
Very
about
good.
technique. I was in the newspaper, I was watching the news. Ketanji was out in the audience, and she was getting honored at that moment. You know, this one of them, you're in the audience, not up there. And her daughter turned around and looked at her like, that's my mom. And I swear, and I caught that.
I do too.
And what was cool even more is before I can even finish it, the papers come out the next day, and all week, they all picked up on that picture. The photographers syndicated it to hundreds of places. So, yeah, my
I
eye
keep
is.
getting chills.
Yeah.
Over you, yes.
Oh, look at this, how chilly that person is.
No, I mean, that's a good thing. I'm very, very.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was your embellishment to put the flag, the American
Yes,
flag behind it?
yes.
Okay.
Yep, I went, what's more purposeful? Perfect. I mean, it was, do we all know who she is? She's the first black lady representative of the Supreme Court. I mean, come on. That is so special. I want to embrace every bit that shows the women and our black increasing, because come on, we know. We know who's been held down. And they're trying hard now. So we have to be a place that enjoys art. Take a little second to express some of our feelings and our heart and desire in our art. And then get together like this is wonderful and that we can discuss it. Because I feel like that's the only way you're gonna get good out there, if we put it out. We're so upset with many things in life right now and we hold it in. Get ulcers, right? Heartburn. Can't sleep at night, and we gotta release. And it may be just with the people that we feel trusted with, of like-minded people as we are. And this place is really nice. She has glasses, all kinds of stuff. But, I digressed, I hope you don't mind.
I love it when an art piece is uplifting.
Yes, it
There,
feels good.
there is something to that, to walk in your home and you have a few pieces that are just uplifting like that. It's like, makes you happy, yeah.
Right. In my house, I have a lot of art on all the walls. My dear husband is a curator, apparently. And I gave up. I mean, I came in, and when I'm dropping off art here, by the time I got back within 2 days, he has gone to the collection, rearranged, pulled out, and put it on the wall. And that's wonderful. It is joyful to see. We put most of our historical stuff. I do a lot of, I didn't show you that. Martin Luther King. Oh, that was one. What I was telling you about that, Jesus, it's okay that I'm so off the cuff. This is Dora, y'all. Frida, my Frida, isn't she beautiful?
Yes, I like
This is the thing with this. Of course, got in my mind political rightness and wrongness. Maybe it's wrongness more than right. So that's in the back of my head. I was doing work for Martin Luther King Day. So I did a series, as we know, you all most know, of Martin Luther King's. And here are two of them that I did. And how these began, and all that, so unprofessional. I didn't have confidence in my ability to do a portrait. So I said, you know what? I can put these blocks in there and it ain't, who knows what a blocked head's supposed to look like, you know? But it turned out very well. And I loved it. Well, I started with one in oil and it just was not fun. When you don't know how to do a face, you just don't get it. So I went and started doing it acrylic, and then I did the other one that won the Mayor's Award for Westland. And that's the brown Martin Luther King. He's normal. But what I was saying here is I started doing these Picasso, and it was so badass, and I went to this one, because I just, I expound on everything I do.
Don't you call that Cubist?
Cubist,
Cubist
yes.
style?
So it's Picasso, it's like Picasso is Cubist. I have a Picasso print that I really, really love. And that's what brought me to it, because it wasn't your standard Picasso with the bright colors, which we know I love bright colors, but I didn't like it for Picasso so much. And I have one, and Armand, he was a promoter, and I'm gonna get that name and tell you. So many artists all did his portraits. He was something. I have him by Picasso in browns and golds. Oh, it's done. Of course, I hadn't explored, of course, the blue period and everything I found out later. So there's where my head was. And so then we got a show coming up, and it's historical and blah, 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 make some meaning, you know? So I thought I wanted to do a face with all the different faces, colors of artists. Then I thought, okay, wait, now how are you gonna do this? You want people to look at this. Frida. Everybody accepts Frida Kahlo. White, brown, yellow, and green have Frida Kahlo in their house. You know, it's acceptable, it's not thought of, no barrier.
Right.
No, I'm going with this, I'm not going there. And I felt she was a perfect person to express the diversity of this. And then what it's really called is there's no boundaries for color in art. And it really means two ways, of course. A color's being, pick a color, their color everywhere. But the other I meant was all of our beautiful shades. We do art, and it should not be looked at no more. You're looking at the beautiful art. Don't focus on anything you may find not your way. And that's what she was about, and I was really pleased with that.
Yes.
She's in acrylic. I often, particularly my landscapes, I start with acrylic and then I finish it in oil. So a lot of my work is done that way. It's just one of my teachers, how they taught me. That's a good way to do if you're doing landscapes. So I got a series coming out. Oh, there was more. I'm going to, I want to have a one-man show, one-lady show next year. That's my goal. I want to go and learn from a good artist, a master, like a Walter, you know, or someone of that particular. I've never been trained, except by watching videos. So that is my goal. I'm delving right now into printmaking. I'm doing lino cuts, and oh my God, right? Pain in the butt, hard. Fun. Challenge is fun for me. Challenge is a blast. So that is happening, and mono printing is happening big time. Then I am also, though, going to expound my landscapes of doing a whole series. I live on the river. I live on Raisin River, going right into Lake Erie. And it's nothing but beautiful. Every day I go, 2 miles to my house up and down this river. And I praise God every bit of it. And that's my scenes, and I've been watching, I've been focused, I've been planning, whole year. This scene, this scene, this scene, you can stand in one spot, of course, and get all these different views. But then I'm thinking of, I need something more. And there's one of my favorite artists, and I don't know if y'all know him or not, but God, you gotta look him up. It's Mason Archie. Do any of you know Mason Archie's work?
I think so.
He's like the light. And he'll put sceneries, it'll be just an oak tree or whatever, and the light is coming through so beautiful. But also, he's got the quilt series, and it's a black woman walking with the quilt wrapped around her and all the beautiful colors. In the scenery picture, like how cool is that? I was taught by one of my teachers to put life in art, you put life in art. So that's my goal. I'm gonna be doing a series of landscapes with people's children doing, I can't copy his, I'm not gonna copy his, I love to copy his. Children feeding the geese, you know, walking the dog, a little boy, I already got these pictures started. Little boy fishing with his bud on the dock.
Nice.
So that's all, for sure, officially done, except we might have some treats in just a moment if you'll stick around.
Well, I wanted to thank you, Dora, for sharing the history and behind your artwork. And I know that everyone probably has certain questions about the works that you just shared with us. And so I'm going to let them ask any questions that they have. And then we can all have some treats. I see that
Oh, I see.
the popcorn, the popcorn is here.
Yes,
So, before we all enjoy the delicious treats that are here, would anyone like to ask a question? Does anyone have a question for Dora?
Yes, Dora, talk about what you did for your community.
Tell me.
A lot of people don't know. She's quite a
Thank
historian.
you. All right. Hey, Fanny. There was an artist in my town that is a famous artist. He was born actually in New York, but he grew up as a young boy with his family in our town of Monroe, Michigan. He was a house painter back then. And listen to my story, because there's a couple people telling stories that this is not correct. So they were house decorative painters, beautiful moldings and books, shelves and stuff like that. Well, he went on to do regular art. He became a printer, this, that, or whatever. Wonderful man, wonderful history. He left the country. He ended up going, this is when slavery was going on. This is 1851. He goes to Canada for a while, and then I would say from fear. And then he was abolitionists, they paid to send him to Europe. He painted for the kings and the queens. He went everywhere. He went all over the place. He must have been the most friendly, nice person, you know. Unbelievable. And he was called the most famous landscape artist in the West. West in the old days was the United States, yes.
Was it east of the Mississippi?
East of Mississippi, sure. And so he ended up coming back. Part of this time he spent in Ohio. And we have something called the Taft Museum. The Taft Museum has 8 of their walls. And this is walls, are his murals. He has got art there, everything. To kind of think of it as his museum. Mr. Taft, he was captain. He was a very supportive person. But he had been, everywhere doing stuff. He is totally 1,000,000% established. In his past years, as years went on, he ended up coming back to Detroit. He was putting up an exhibition. Now, what happens to artists in the old days painting with oil paint? He died. He passed out. He had blood poisoning. It was from that. Now, idiots will try to tell you, yes, I own this, and I don't like people telling the wrong things. It wasn't from painting houses. It was the whole culmination of it. He worked in oil, just like many other artists have passed away. So here he passes. They just shipped his body up here to Monroe and threw it in the old graveyard. Oh, no names on the casket, no names on, no headstones. Where's more of his family? Where are they? No one knows. This is how I get it told to me. And I'm like, what? This man has done all this? And what? And I saw that people be more on board than like me, But I said, we'll find it. Our town is very little. If you got, how many graveyards you got, we'll find this. Needless to say, I took it on myself. It wasn't the time for anyone else to do it. So I found all 15 of his family. I found him. I went to a local person to give him, you know, the work, and he's good, to go to design the headstone, because I designed it. Shit, I got it now. I worked hard and I was getting it. Black granite, two-sided. His face on one side in porcelain, on the other side, one of pieces of his art in porcelain, full size. Beautiful. So the DIA, now mind you, my town ain't too good on giving up money either, you know, and I'm not too good on waiting. So I did a little talking, and I went to a presentation they have of this artist in our town at that time. I mean, tell me God wasn't working this. And the man comes to me and he says, go to Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club like to hear about this. The Breakfast Club is Detroit Fine Arts Breakfast Club. It's something that's established here in Detroit. Many artists go to it, and it's a wonderful thing. And if you haven't heard from it, we'll all be happy to tell you about it because you want to go. It's easy. Breakfast Club is just a group of people. It started with two guys at a table at breakfast. So I go to them and I said, okay, you don't know me, but I have this and we need a headstone for this man. He was mulatto. Do I need to tell you that this is why he wasn't treated as well or considered? I assume. So, Breakfast Club jumped on it, learned all the story about it. I mean, no hesitation at all. And they arranged a auction. And they were gonna bring some stuff in the auction, get this money. We have a very fine artist in our group. We have some great artists. And then we have some that really have established themselves a little bit more than us. And Henry Hadding is one of them. He does incredible work, really good work. And he donated, I think it was 2 pieces of his art to be auctioned off and got all that money, the whole thing. That was like gold, and this is why. I will support my Breakfast Club people, and I will fight if anybody tries to change the rules, like they purchased it and all that, because that was major. They did not know us, they did nothing. They did it for the love of a man. So we had a wonderful, the DIA comes to me and says, this is wonderful. Can I have this? This is Pons, if you know, it's Salvador Pons, the director and everything, CEO of the DIA. Wonderful guy, just a guy. And he said, can I have this here in his room with his art? Oh, yeah, sure, man, yeah. And then I got there for a while and they come back, this is too good. The kids are coming in from schools and everything to do this, you know. Can we have it longer? I said, this ain't mine, this is yours. We all here consider you bought it, you found it, you got it, you did it, and you're putting it on the grave. This is yours. And that gave me honor. That gave me pride. I mean, big pride. Plus it got done. And it got done in the middle of me getting a severe illness. And I stopped it. And they tried to do a little bit, and I just come out of it just to go, no, that's fine. That's good. I was like, how dare, no. And I got better enough, and I got it done. So it was meant to be. It was just totally meant to be. We have made a Duncanson, it's Robert S. Duncanson, and we have made a Robert S. Duncanson Society in Monroe. And so I was part of that for a period of time. Just didn't feel like it was the right feel for me after I had a reception. I had an incredible reception, called my group, 11 artists come out, some of the top ones in the news at the moment, 2 of them were right in the newspaper that day. They all hooked it all up. I had a Black History Month display and an incredible event, and I had champagne served with trays, everything. And then I says, I quit.
I quit?
It just wasn't time for me. I help out in other ways, but I just didn't need to be part of that committee, and it was exhausting. I'm the type of person I'll push myself. Like, after this week, I've been through, I'm gonna be down for a couple days. I might get pulled on just like,
Just relaxing and
Just
enjoying.
relax, yeah. Thank you, Debbie. That is the story of Robert S. Duncanson. And you can Google
You
it
gotta share
and see it.
Yeah.
You Google his name and it's in the records. The one of the articles from that got syndicated 350 times. That means 350 other newspapers all across the United States picked that up. You know, they have to get approval. I don't know how that works. Isn't that cool?
Yes,
Isn't that?
quite the honor.
It was the same artist that loaned the painting to the Bidens for the inauguration. That big painting, that was his.
That one there.
Good stuff. Let's eat and drink and be happy, y'all. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
Yes. Yes, I was enjoying it.